Peace, family. This is Lions Den with another news and commentary. Um, Today, January 25th, 2019, is the 5-year anniversary of my family member's death, which was my uncle's. I call them my uncles because they're the sweetest people in the world. But this, on January 25th, 2014, which was 5 years ago, changed my life forever. Now, for those of you who don't know what happened, and you know what, thanks to Afrocentric and other activists who did a YouTube video of the story of our uncles, this situation didn't get enough media coverage as it should be, which is sad because the thing of it is that it got a little media coverage on MSNBC and that was it. It didn't make no wall-to-wall 24/7 coverage like they should be. The only media coverage that they have on my uncle's story was a local West Virginia media. So here's the thing, right? That day changed my family's life forever because I'm gonna tell you what happened, and then I'm gonna go ahead and play this video from Afrocentric coverage. But what happened was one of my uncle, who was Uncle Garrick, which is Garrick Hopkins, purchased a property in a predominantly white neighborhood in West Virginia. And the thing of it is that this white neighbor named Robert Bruce Black, he, was living next door. Well, he's a next door neighbor of a property that Uncle Garrick was purchased. Anyway, he was, really cold person. Talking about Robert Bruce Black. There was a shed in the middle of both sides. Really, it's a shed in the middle of the property. And so Robert Bruce Black accuses my uncles of trespassing on his property, which proven that wasn't true because all Uncle Gary did was showing Uncle Carl basically the shed on their side of the property. So without warning, without calling the police, Robert Bruce Black went upstairs, grabbed a shotgun, opened fire, shot and killed both of them in broad daylight, in cold blood, in front of their property. It's so sad that they haven't make it to the mainstream media at all. The only mainstream media they made it to, and normally, and I mean normally, they I don't even watch or respect their news coverage, but they did cover my family members, was Fox News. That was it. MSNBC didn't cover it. CNN didn't cover it. Bloomberg News didn't cover it. None of these mainstream media didn't cover the story of my family members. In Caleb County, West Virginia. That's when the incident happened. And there's some fellow, and like I said, shout out to Afrocentric and other black leaders that covered my family member story, because obviously, if it wasn't for them, this story would never been heard of. And I applaud Fox News because they're the only mainstream media that even covered this story. But sometimes they did it out of leverage. But at least they said something about the story of what happened. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the Afrocentric's coverage of what happened with my uncles, because I want the truth to come out of what happened to them. And then after that, I'm going to finish the rest of my commentary explaining what happened to Robert Bruce Black. So here it is.
welcome to Afro Synergy.
Families of two brothers are now in mourning tonight after the pair was shot while simply checking out a piece of property that they had just bought. Police say they were gunned down by a person they didn't even know, and tonight we're learning more about the man accused of committing the double murder, Rodney Black.
Without warning, West Virginia man kills his black neighbors. This is an article from the African Globe, and it is about that savage killing. Increasingly, we're seeing the pale-skinned males killing blacks, just wantonly killing blacks for no apparent reasons other than these persons are black. A West Virginia man shot and killed his new black neighbor and the man's brother without warning as the two inspected their land. Now with emphasis on their land, not the land of this pale-skinned killer. The murderer told police he thought his alleged victims were breaking into a building he mistakenly thought he owned, and police are baffled as to why he chose such a drastic measure to preserve something of no value to him. Well, they shouldn't be baffled. He's a lying savage, that's what he is. He need no other reason to kill those men other than the fact that they were black and they were moving in next door to him. The Campbell County Sheriff's Department charged Rodney Bruce Black, who is 62 years of age, of Barboursville, with 2 counts of first-degree murder after he killed Garrick Hopkins, who is 60 years of age, of Milton, and his brother, Carl Hopkins Jr., who is 61 years of age, of Oak Hill. At 2:30 p.m. Saturday, Sheriff Tom McComas told reporters on Monday. Garrick Hopkins and his wife had just purchased land next door to Black and planned to start building a home in the next few weeks. The landowner had invited his brother over to check out the property on that Saturday afternoon. Black saw the 2 men, who were both married with children, looking inside a shed. Now this shed is on the land owned by these 2 black men. As this pale-skinned savage saw these 2 black men looking inside of that shed, then, allegedly, without warning or calling the police, he grabbed a rifle and fired once at both men, killing both of them. Police do not know why Rodney Bruce Black of Barboursville, West Virginia, decided to murder the 2 men he thought was on his land. He shot first and then called 911. He said they were breaking into his house, but it wasn't his property. Now, those are the words of the sheriff. There is no reason to really wonder, why would this man do something like this? It is clear that he had no reason to kill these 2 brothers. The land belonged to them. it did not belong to this pale-skinned savage. In fact, along with this killer being in prison for the rest of his life, his land, his property, should go to the family of those men that he killed. The structure did not contain anything of value. The building sits on land once owned by Black's family, but not anymore. The sheriff said they are continuing to investigate the incident to determine why Black was not under the influence of drugs or alcohol would shoot the two unarmed men. Well, pale-skinned savages don't need to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol to do crazy things such as shooting Black men. Let's not forget that in the state of Florida, less than 100 years ago, pale-skinned men used Black babies as live alligator bait. That's right, alligator bait. The department believes Black had never met the two men before. It's just a terrible, terrible tragedy. We're still trying to figure all of this out. Hopefully, we'll find out his reasoning as the investigation continues. There is no reasoning behind any of this. The man is a cold-blooded savage killer. That is the reasoning for the killing. Police also seized a large amount of weapons and ammunition from Black's home. The two victims are Black and the shooter is white. But McComas said there is no indication race was a factor in the suspect's motive. Now, this devil has not killed any pale-skinned person transiting through any parts of his property or the property that no longer belonged to his family. So yes, race is involved. What are the police waiting for this pale-skinned devil to say? Oh, nigger? Is that what they're waiting for him to have said to these Black men before he killed them, before he murdered them? Black is being held at county jail without bail, and his next court date will be held on February 4th. Now, I will close with the rest of the local program, news program, about this killing.
Police tape is still hanging in front of this home on Old Crow Road in Barbersville, a reminder to the people here of a very senseless crime.
Absolutely cold-blooded, killed, and it's sick.
Sheriff deputies say this man right here, Rodney Black, shot and killed two brothers, 60-year-old Garrick Hopkins and 61-year-old Carl Hopkins. Black originally said the two were breaking into his shed near his house, but police say that shed does not belong to him. It belonged to one of the victims who recently bought the shed and the neighboring lot. What really has everyone shocked about this is from here to the home to over to the shed, you're looking at about least 50 yards. And what authorities say is really shocking is that he gave no warning, just simply pulled the trigger.
And if you have concern, you pick up the phone and you call 911 first. You don't shoot and then call.
Regina Lafferty lives right across the street. She stood on her front porch as gunfire rang out and the victims fell to the ground. Her kids passed through this empty lot just a few hours before the shooting.
It's numbing.
Even before this weekend's violence, Lafferty was afraid of her neighbor and told her kids not to go near Black's house.
He seemed a little rude, and just cold, very cold person.
A man described as cold, accused of an even colder crime. Hope he stays in jail
Forever.
Rodney Black is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. He is being held in the Western Regional Jail tonight, where he declined my request for an interview.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was the video. I'd like to thank Afro Synergy for reporting that year. I did a, sorry folks, let me calm down because this is so emotional. but I did an update on what happened with Rodney Bruce Black. Now, what the video didn't say of the court date or what happened. See, the judge basically ruled him incompetent to stand trial. Now, they're really doing the same thing to the situation in here in Nashville, Tennessee, in Antioch, Tennessee, when a white guy opened fire at a Waffle House, and then the judge said that he's too incompetent to stand trial, but proving that he is competent. Well, in this case, it didn't go. It wasn't like that. In this case, the judge claimed that he was ruled incompetent to stand trial. So he's now spending the rest of his life at a mental hospital in West Virginia. You know, this is why people gonna say, well, they made a deal with my family members and, of course, prosecutors. They made a deal saying, let's not put race in this, scenario. And you know what? They did that for a reason, right? They did it because they don't want Black Lives Matter protesters. They don't want all the activists protesting in the small town of West Virginia. That's mainly the reason why they made a deal not to put race into this. And that's mainly the reason why I believe that the mainstream media didn't cover this story 24/7 like it should be. Because they don't want protesters marching and, protesting the small town of West Virginia. And keep in mind, this is a predominantly white neighborhood that my uncle was purchased. And then, like Afro Synergy said just now, you don't see him shooting a white person in that neighborhood, only them. So our family still didn't get no justice because of this case, because this white man is claiming that he is incompetent. Now, people are going to say, well, he's too old. That's why he's incompetent. No. He wasn't. He was competent enough to kill these men. He was competent enough to pull a shotgun and shot and killed my uncles dead. And yet they rule incompetent. He's too incompetent to stand trial. So now Rodney Bruce Black is spending the rest of his life in a mental hospital for the murders of my family members. And we still didn't get no justice for that. So, like Trayvon Martin's family, like Sandra Bland's family, like Raquel Boyd's family, like all these families that lost a loved one, either through police, either through a white neighbor, either through white vigilantism, as they call it. We have felt this pain. Now, this happened 5 years ago, January 25th, 2014. And no mainstream media, except Fox News, but no mainstream media like CNN, MSNBC, none of these media outlets didn't cover the story at all. MSNBC did, however, let me take that back. MSNBC did a little bit of coverage of them, and that was it. You won't see no wall-to-wall, 24/7 coverage of this story at all. None. Only coverage that my family member has was the local West Virginia media. That was it. Now, I feel their pain. I feel, Trayvon Martin's family's pain. I feel Tamir Rice's pain. I feel Raquel Boyd's pain. I feel Sandra Bland's pain. I feel their pain because when you lost someone in this tragedy, especially if from another race, that is a problem. And when our black people need to wake up and understand, you know, what is going on with our people. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm an activist now. This is why I'm doing videos here on YouTube to show what happened to them, and there's little media coverage of it. None. So, ladies and gentlemen, it happened 5 years ago. I still never forget what happened to them. And I hope you guys will never forget either. Because if it happens to my family, it's going to happen to you guys too. Or it's going to happen to it's going to happen to every one of your family members as well. This really hurts me because this is my family members. Those are my blood that were murdered. It's saddened that when that happened, it could have, again, the mainstream media should have reported this. Like it did with Trayvon Martin, like it did with Tamir Rice, Rakia Boyd, Sandra Bland, Fernando Castillo, Elton Sterling. It could have happened. I mean, they should have did this, but they didn't. They made a deal with my family and said, "Well, let's not put race into this story." They want to cover it. They basically don't want this story to go all the way out because they don't want Black Lives Matter people there. They don't want all the martyrs there. So they swept it under the rug, but I'm keep this story moving every year to show that what happened to them. And to tell you guys not to forget them either. Because that's what they want. They want to forget what happened to my family members. They want to forget it. They want to sweep it under the rug. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a tribute to one of the most sweetest people in the world, Uncle Garrick Hopkins and Uncle Carl Hopkins. And it's sad that we as black people what's so sad about this is that we forget them. You didn't forget Trayvon Martin. You didn't forget Tamir Rice, Rakia Boyd, Elton Sterling, Fernando Castillo. We don't forget those guys, but they're trying to forget what happened to my family members. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a tragedy, and we should never forget what happened to them. Let's keep the conversation going. So, share this video, subscribe my YouTube channel, subscribe my reaction channel, and subscribe my Black Junction channel for all the news and commentary. And please, don't forget what happened to the Hopkins brothers. Don't forget them. Because what they're trying to do, they're trying to sweep that story under the rug, and I'm not going to let that happen. Because that's my family members they try to sweep under the rug. That's my blood. And let's keep the conversation going. Keep the all these mainstream YouTubers like Turin Rain, like Lisa Cabrera, like the True Roar family. Keep this story going. Don't let that sweep that under the rug. Because we still want justice for the murders of my family members. your world, your black world. I want you guys to not forget what happened to my family members. All the black popular YouTubers, keep talking about this story. I know you got power. Keep talking about it. I want everybody to remember what happened to them. Because if it happens to my family, it's going to happen to some of your family members too. The same thing. If not the vigilantes, it's going to, a white police officer will kill an unarmed black man like that. It's going to happen. I want all the black YouTubers. I mean, this is what happened 5 years ago, and they try to sweep it under the rug. Let's not let that happen. Let's keep talking about it. Let's keep blowing it up. Because I don't want what happened to my family members. I don't want nothing to happen to your family members either. So please, to all my black YouTubers, to all my subscribers, still talk about the story of what happened to Carl Hopkins and Garrick Hopkins, my uncles, my blood, my family. Let's start talking about it. Let's blow it up. Because justice has to be done here. This killer is spending the rest of his life at a mental hospital over a murder he committed, and he was competent. He wasn't, I mean, the judge said he was incompetent. I don't believe that at all. So you guys, share this video. Please share this video. Keep talking about it. Lisa Cabrera, I know you're one of my subscribers. The True Royal family, I know you also one of my subscribers. All you guys, don't stop talking about this story. Blow it up. This is the 5-year anniversary of their deaths. Let's not sweep this story under the rug, please. And with that being said, rest in peace, Uncle Garrick and Uncle Carl. Will surely be missed. This is Lions Den signing off. Deuces.